Okay, the Human Centipede 3. This is called the final sequence. I thought the first one was inventive. It was definitely a unique concept. Was very light on the actual graphicness of it because, super low budget, but unique concept. The sequel, of course, went nuts when it came to the practical effects aspect, and was filmed in black and white. Therefore, made kind of art house and kind of like a meta feel to it. This one has the doctor from the first one and the creepy loner guy from the second one, as well as Brie Olson, as three people who kind of work at a really poorly run prison facility. It also has a tiny Lester, Zeus, the dude with all of the tattoos, who is not Danny Trejo, and Eric Roberts. And I think it's the person who actually made these films, so it's Tom Six. So they've got problems at the prison cell, at the prison. And the accountant, who is the main character in the second one, is like, I have this idea. And he's constantly pushing these movies on. Like, here's what we're going to do. We're totally going to do this. But he made modifications to it so somebody could be in prison, essentially, and then get out of prison and not be severely physically mutilated for being part of the prison centipede, but it would be noticeable that you were part of the human centipede, or prison centipede. One of its fur is a caterpillar. Maybe if you put rugs on them so they're kind of furry, it might make sense, but so that's your premise. The film is slowly plodding along to the point where you're like, and there's a centipede. There's a lot of them. They tried to work it as kind of a metafiction like they did in 2, but they were kind of unsuccessful because it didn't quite have the... You feel like zero. You feel sympathy for the Brie Olson character, a little bit for the accountant, but zero for the boss, who's the guy running the prison. And I was like, okay. It's got some moments where you're like, okay, it's gore and violence for the sake of gore and violence. Okay. It's like, that's a good practical effect. Yeah, this film really needed to be recut. It is 100 minutes. My thing here has 102 minutes, 33 seconds. And this definitely should have been hour and a half and less. After you've seen this sort of film a couple of times, you kind of know where the ending is. That sounds horrible in describing these films, but you know where it's going. Oh, that even sounds bad too. You know the final act of the film. So the majority of the film is just the slow build to it. It lacked the inventiveness of the first one. The characters are super over the top. It's almost like it's a self-parody. It really, really lacks just the sheer graphic nature of the second one and the black and white meta feel to it. The second one had this really interesting aspect to it. And the weird thing is now in the third one, 1 was a film and 2 was a film. So in 2 he watched 1. In 3 they watched 1 and 2. I think there's a point where you try to be clever, but it just doesn't. It's really lacking that aha moment from the previous ones. It's kind of like, oh, okay, that's a good practical effect. Just it was dull. First one, interesting. Second one, I thought they really went from like this is a great concept, poorly executed too. This is a high concept. It's executed relatively well, given the concept. And this one is just concept. We've seen it. We've seen it multiple times. If you've seen 3 people, you've seen 16 people. You can do 500 people. It's the same process. It's just, I don't know. It just felt like it was just meh.